and more with John Brown and Nick Durst, live on the UCY.TV network.
Hey everybody, it's September 7th and we're joined here, like always, for Spam. It's me, my co-host Nick Durst. What's going on, Nick?
What's going on, everybody? It's great to be back, spamming your radios coast to coast and all around the world on the UCY.TV network and, of course, on the TuneIn app. As always, we like to make this an interactive show, so if you have any questions for us, you can write them in the UCY lobby chat. We'll answer them there. Or tweet us. I am at Nick_Durst. John is at SI_sports. Our show is spam_UCYTV. And, of course, you can always give us a call. And the call number is 1-718-717-8296. John, how's your week been so far?
So far so good. No complaints. You know, I'm pretty bubbly. I got both of my fantasy drafts done for football coming up. I got football this weekend again, thank God. Trump's leading in the polls. Looks like Hillary's about to die.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a lot to talk about. Let's talk about fantasy football real quick. So last night, my buddy had a fantasy draft, and he is a 10-team league. One girl wasn't there, and she had auto pick. Let me read off her roster to you, and let me know if anything sounds a little strange to you. Here's her roster: Andrew Luck, Drew Brees, Andy Dalton, Carson Palmer, Matthew Stafford, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Jameis Winston. So, you see anything a little strange there about this roster so far?
You know what? I like it, because what she does, she gets all the quarterbacks, and then you are forced to trade with them.
Absolutely, great strategy. But like I told my friend, he picked 10th. He has first in the waiver claim because he picked last. I said, just wait her out. She has to drop people, otherwise she can't play. She has no defense, and she took Robbie Gould as her kicker, who the Bears released. She also has Michael Floyd, Antonio Brown, Rashad Jennings, Danny Woodhead, Charles Clay, Emmanuel Sanders, and she does not have a defense. But yeah, so it's really bold thinking there. Just take all the quarterbacks and hope nobody else can get the points for the quarterbacks. So interesting strategy, but I don't think she intended to do it.
Yeah, the problem is, though, she definitely did not intend to do that. The problem is, though, the way that fantasy football is set up and really the way the league is now, you can get by with basically any quarterback. You know, the difference between, say, Phillip Rivers and Derek Carr isn't really night and day, and you don't have to draft Carr. You can just pick him up. You could draft him in like the 15th or 16th round. The quarterback position, even bad quarterbacks, the Blake Bortles of the world, they're going to put up decent fantasy numbers because they're going to make a lot of completions in garbage time when their team's essentially lost.
Yeah, it's a wide receiver league now. I think that's how you win fantasy is go wide receiver first, quarterback second, and running backs just aren't that important anymore because any running back's going to put up points at this point in time with the points per reception, and it's a passing league now anyway.
It's all about, see, what I do is it's all about running backs that also catch. So two of my sleepers, if anybody out there is playing fantasy and wants to get some inside scoop about some sleepers, and I'm a big fan of Danny Woodhead, who, if you look at last year, he finished in the top 5 fantasy points for running backs. He's the actual 2-down back now too, so he's going to get some scavenger short yardage.
Well, let me tell you something about Danny Woodhead because for those of you who don't know out there, I work in the football coverage media world. I do work with fantasy football, and I was actually doing a little stat story today on Danny Woodhead. So the question is Danny Woodhead the best receiving running back in fantasy football? Well, he definitely is, and here's why. He has 2 full 16-game seasons with the Chargers, 2013 and 2015. He missed 2014. He only played 3 games due to injury. In 2014, he missed the 3 games, but he was doing well. But in 2013, he had 605 receiving yards, 76 receptions, 86 targets, and 6 touchdowns. He was second in receptions behind Pierre Thomas, who had 1 more, 4th in targets, 2nd in yards and touchdowns behind Jamal Charles. Then in 2015, he led the league in all categories for running backs. 755 receiving yards, 80 receptions, 106 targets, and 6 touchdowns. That's the type of guy you want in your fantasy team.
Absolutely. So, obviously Danny Woodhead is sort of like the chalk, the coming out of the Belichick system of running backs who catch. But I'll give you another one that I think you can get real cheap. Just say Danny Woodhead goes in the first, probably 10 rounds. Theo Reddick, the product out of Notre Dame, he plays on Detroit now. If you look at his numbers last year, he had almost 700 receiving yards out of the backfield. He's actually going to get a lot more touches from the running back field as well. And if you're in a league that does return points, he does return punts. So, he's one of those guys who kind of does a lot of little things, but for fantasy reasons, he'll score you a butt ton of points.
Yep, definitely. And if anybody wants to know anything about Notre Dame, obviously, you just asked John. Big Irish fan. Unfortunately, things did not go their way over the weekend.
I know. And the worst part was, you know what? I get, shit happens. You're going to lose football games, especially college, because there's so much turnover. But, why'd you have to make it, first of all, hats off. It was a really interesting game. I really liked it, really entertained. Kept me up all fucking night. And it gave me hope and then dashed it away. But other than that, I like that Kelly pulled the quarterback when he was. Listen, they gave the guy a chance. He's not performing. All right, next. I like that. I don't like teams that sort of they make a bad decision and they just stick with it. These are college kids. You don't know what you're going to get out of them. They're like tea bags. You don't know what they taste like until you put them in some hot water. So obviously both. If you're playing quarterback for Notre Dame, you're physically very gifted. But some people are going to choke under the pressure. So I like the fact that he made the move. I think it played off really well. I'm really upset about the defense. How are you going to give up that many freaking points?
Yeah, that was just ridiculous game. Lots of scoring.
Yeah, if you like scoring, it was like a video game. I felt like it was 2 people playing Xbox.
Yep, it definitely did look like an Xbox game, just non-stop scoring. But if you're gonna lose, you're gonna want to lose in the beginning of the season and in overtime, so it doesn't look as bad at the end of the year. Notre Dame still has a shot to make the Final Four, but like we talked about 2 weeks ago, when I was last here, the NCAA is a scam. It's all about the money, and Notre Dame. They're gonna be considered for the playoff because they're a huge moneymaker.
Absolutely. And the ratings. Think about the ratings. That they're not on some Big Ten bullshit network that you have to pay $1 million for cable for. You have to
Right. The worst Notre Dame's going to do is they're going to be on ESPN. they're always on either NBC or the game was it on ABC? Saturday night.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay. So the worst they're going to do is be on ESPN. Otherwise, they're always going to be on regular broadcast television, which is no other school in the world could say that.
Yeah, absolutely. So if the Catholic Church knows anything, they know how to make freaking money. And Nick, you can adhere to this because of our fucking St. John's bill that we got. But the Catholic Church monetized the Fighting Irish really, really well, especially with the movie Rudy. It's one of the few schools that legitimately is, it's not regional at all. It's the entire nation. There's Irish fans everywhere. They've tied themselves to some sort of like Disney film type of underdog story. They were very good at some points in time, especially when Lou Holtz was the coach. They've also tied themselves to a nationality in this country. So from a marketing perspective, it's phenomenal. So, and that's NCAA. They can say all this bullshit about education, but in reality, it's a business just like anything else. You don't see people, like what I feel bad for is just say you're Zaire, the quarterback for Notre Dame, right? And you're awesome, and they're making money selling your jersey, the whole nine. Middle of your junior year, you fucking blow out your knee, and that's it. No more football for you. Now you have a degree in some bullshit because you took some bullshit major because you just want to play football. I guess you got a free college, which is kind of sweet. But other than that, you're broke, and you have no way to, the school made millions off you, and you fucked yourself up, and they basically told you, oh, thanks, see you later.
Yep, it's a huge moneymaker. And the other huge moneymaker, which it leads into, which all these guys are hoping to get to, is the pros playing on Sundays in the NFL. And very small percentage of these people, of the players, because college football, there's thousands of college football players.
Absolutely.
The pros, there's only 52 per team. And most teams, they like to use that whole roster space, unless you're the Jets, who have a quarterback for every day but Sunday. They are always quarterbacks. Or the Cowboys, who like to waste the roster spot with Tony Romo, who, he just every time he plays, he gets injured. And these Cowboy fans, they'll say, this is our year. Tony's going to come back in the second half of the season, lead us to the Super Bowl. Not happening. And that's why here tonight, me and John are going to give our NFL predictions for how the season's going to play out this season. It's going to all end in February with the Super Bowl. So let's start with the division that we like the best because of our teams in it. The NFC East, how do you see it playing out? We're going to go division by division, and then at the end, after we go through the whole conference, we'll give our wild card teams. NFC East, which team you have winning that division and why?
Oh, I think it's pretty easily. And, I know that I'm a bias because I'm a fan. But if I try to take a step back and look at the statistics, Eli is a 2-time Super Bowl MVP. He's put up amazing numbers, and this is a quarterback-driven league. They've changed the rules for defense so that they want quarterbacks to throw up a lot of points. And that's exactly what Eli is going to do. And if this defense can be better than last year, which is, I think it already is because it was so dreadful last year, they're going to win 10 games without trying. If they get a couple surprise, Victor Cruz comes back or, the Shepherd kid is the real deal, I think they win 11 or 12 games. They win the division easily because, they got butt fumble down in Dallas who, their defense, Dallas's defense has been suspect for years. Now you've replaced Tony Romo with Mark Sanchez, who essentially shouldn't be in this league. Sanchez is going to throw a fucking butt ton of, interceptions and fumbles and make a ton of mistakes. So Dallas is going to win 4 or 5 games this year. The Redskins, they don't know who their running back is, so they've sort of changing of the guard a little bit on that end. Even though Alfred Morris I thought was very good, but he kind of fell off a cliff last year. Cousins puts up nice numbers. He's another one of those good fantasy, bad reality guys. I'm not afraid of Kirk Cousins whatsoever. He'll throw 1 million interceptions. They're going to win 6 games. They'll go 6-10. And then Philadelphia will be right there at the dumpster. I think they're going to win 3 games. They're starting to change the guard. The Kelly experiment didn't work. Now they traded away Sam Bradford, who was a bum, but at least he was, a professional quarterback. And now they're going to start some rookie who, I'm not impressed with. Who's their running back? Because they signed Murray, and now he's gone, DeMarco Murray. So
they got Darren Sproles still.
Yeah, Darren Sproles is going to have to use his, accessorized wheelchair. Not only has the guy always been made of glass, he has fibromyalgia or whatever. He's also 35 years old. I'm not afraid of Philly on either side of the ball. they'll be throwing snowballs and rocks at Santa Claus this year. It's going to be a really bad year for Philadelphia fans. They're going to be in the dumpster. Probably get the first overall pick in the draft next year.
Well, NFC, lots of stuff has gone down the NFC East the last week. So first of all, the Eagles, bravo to them. They gave up that bum Sam Bradford. They got a first-round pick and a fourth-round pick. What were the Vikings thinking there? That's just absolutely insane. And also, the Cowboys signed Mark Sanchez to be their backup quarterback. He sucks. I don't even think he's ever going to play because he's so bad. If he does, thank goodness. Blessing in disguise. Not even in disguise. Blessing straight in the wide open for every other team in the division because he's awful. But I think the Redskins will once again win this division. And Kirk Cousins, he will like that. They'll just win 9 games, 9-7. The Eagles will be awful. The Cowboys will be awful. They'll be going for the top pick, both of them. And the Giants will finish in second place with around 7 or 8 wins. I don't have any faith in Ben McAdoo as a first-year head coach. Don't think he should have been the coach. Hopefully I'm wrong. Like you did say, lots of exciting things going on with Sterling Shepard being there and Victor Cruz. The offense should be good. The defense, not going to be good, I don't think. They got rid of Prince Amukamara. They brought in Janoris Jenkins. They don't really have any other cornerbacks. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie didn't look too good last year. Dropped so many easy interceptions. They got Landon Collins at safety. He was not any good last year as a rookie, dropping easy picks. So I don't see how they can really win with that terrible defense. But hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully JPP can make a lot of sacks with his 7 fingers. But, we will see. And let's move on here to the NFC North with the aforementioned Sam Bradford Packers. How do you see this division playing out? The Packers were, the Vikings with Sam Bradford. The Packers seem to be heavily favored. The Vikings were right up there with them, but that was with Teddy Bridgewater. So what do you think is going to happen here?
Well, you know what? First off, let's make a public service announcement to all of the GMs in the NFL. Stop trading first-round draft picks for Sam Bradford. First of all, Sam Bradford's built like a little bitch. I'm bigger than him. So he can't play in the NFL. He's constantly hurt. He put up one decent year in the Rams 4 or 5 years ago, and he's been getting paid and getting teams' first-round draft picks ever since for it. I understand Teddy Bridgewater getting hurt essentially ends their season before it starts, and that has to suck. But I don't think that they were, I don't think the difference between Sean Hill and Sam Bradford is enough of an upside. Now, listen, Sam Bradford, when healthy, is better than Sean Hill. Sean Hill is a career backup. The guy, essentially has made a career of holding a clipboard. But, what the difference is, what his, points above replacement will be is negligible. Trading away a first-round draft pick is stupid.
It's definitely a great public service announcement. Before we let you continue there, quick comment from the chat from Otto saying the team from the largest TV market with the most number of felons will win the championship. Could be a safe bet. And he said the Super Bowl will be won by the team that scores the most points. So,
thanks, John.
All right.
This is the thing about the Vikings that makes me, really scared. Adrian Peterson is one injury away from them winning one game this year. I like Sean Diggs, the wide receiver, but, no one giving the ball. That defense isn't remotely as good as it used to be. AP is obviously above average, very, very good, but he's eventually going to hit, he's going to hit that wall. He's on the other side of 30. I think that year off that he got for beating his kid with that stick really helped him not to get dead legs, but he's probably due for one. They're a bad team. I'm going to say they're going to win 5 games. The Bears stink. I think Jake Cutler is very much, he's cut of the same cloth as Cousins. They can put up some decent numbers. He can air the ball out, but between the ears, I'm not worried about him. If you're telling me I'm playing Jay Cutler in the playoffs, I'm not worried whatsoever. Their defense stinks. Their running game, actually, they got a bunch of 2 or 3 different young running backs that can all sort of could make a splash. They got, Gaffney on the wide receiver, who's very good. But they're a mediocre team. They'll probably go 6-10, 7-9, something on the lines of that. I'm not buying all of the Packer stock the way that the vast majority of people are. But in reality, listen, when you have Aaron
Rodgers,
you have a really good chance to win. Almost every game he puts you in. I don't know what fat ass Eddie Lacy is going to do this year. I know he showed up to camp like 20 pounds overweight, but they always sort of find a way. They got James Jones last year off of the Giants practice squad. He put up a crazy freaking year. So, that system works.
The Giants had to cut James Jones to hold on to that freaking terrible bum. What's his name? Preston Parker, who was then arrested earlier this year, arrested, pleaded guilty to cocaine charges. Yeah, he was awful, and the fans are booing him. But yeah, they got James Jones, who was previously a Packer, and he did great for them.
Yep. So that just shows you that that system's phenomenal. Their defense kind of sucks.
So you got them in the division. Yeah.
10-6, I think.
I would say, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Aaron Rodgers is going to be double checking up and down the field all season. And with Bridgewater out, I think they'll pretty easily win the division. You're looking at around 11, 12 wins. I don't know how the rest of the division is going to turn out. I don't think it's going to matter because I don't think any of those teams, other than the Packers, are a playoff team. Let's move over to the NFC South, where you have the Falcons, who started hot last year and then ended up terrible. Panthers went 15-1, lost the Super Bowl. Drew Brees and the Saints, and Jameis Winston and the Bucks. Go ahead.
So I guess I'll start. From the top. Carolina, everyone's buying in on it. I'm not. I'm selling. I'm going and saying that last year was lightning in a bottle. That doing that again is very unlikely. Their defense is very good, but I don't think it's gotten any better through free agency. Cam Newton put up a phenomenal year last year, taking nothing away from him. But on the same note, their weapons on offense are a little different. I think they're going to win the division easily because it's a bad division, but they're not going to win 15, 16 games, anything crazy like that. I think they're going to go 11. They're going to get about 11 wins, maybe 12 because it's a weak division. They'll win it handily and then lose in the playoffs. I think the Saints are going to make a lot of noise, score a lot of points, but they're a 6-win team. They can still air the ball out because Drew Brees still got it. Even though his arm's probably failing him a little bit, he's still, very, very smart. He's one of those guys. He's in that group of people that, like, if you put him on New England or something like that, if the Jets could have traded for him, the Jets would be a Super Bowl contender. He's that good. He's going to make a lot of those bums they have down there, the Lance Moores of the world look really good, even though they stink. They're not going to do much. Their defense without bounties is terrible. They're going to lose every game outside of the dome. They're just not a good team. They're probably going to win 4 or 5 games. They stink. Atlanta, who I had high hopes for, I like Matty Ice. I'm a Matty Ice fan. I don't know if I'm a believer, but I certainly am a fan. I like their running game. Their defense is another question. Who knows? But here's the thing. It's one of those, if Jones and, I don't know, they just find guys off the street to play running back and to score some points for them. I think they'll be all right. They'll contend. They'll splash around a little bit, but they're not going to. I think they're a 7-win team. They lose the division. Don't make the playoffs. And then finally, who's left in that division?
Buccaneers.
Oh, yeah, the Bucks. Jameis Winston and the fucking frozen crabs that he steals. I think he's closer to Vince Young than he is to Cam Newton.
Hey, don't give him that high of a praise. Vince Young is the winningest quarterback in the history of the NFL, win percentage-wise. No joke.
All right, so how about this? I'll say he is closer to
DeMarcus Russell.
Steve McNair?
Steve McNair went to a Super Bowl and was MVP, so... I don't know about that.
All right, he sticks. How about that?
All right, Michael Vick.
Yeah, he's gonna listen to the thing. He's athletically very gifted, but have you ever seen the guy work out without his pads on? He looks like a fat uncle. That kind of athletic gift, if you don't, you don't really work on it, because everyone in the NFL works on it. And I have the feeling that he's just been so athletically gifted that he hasn't had to work on it throughout high school and college, and he's just, dominated people. I think that's going to catch up to him big time in the NFL. I suspect he's going to get injured and, only play a handful of games this year. That run-around nonsense doesn't really work, but I think he has all the tools to be very, very good, and let's see if he can get coached up, and let's see what kind of shape he's in. I think it's very similar. I think his fate is really tied into Doug Martin, and if Doug Martin can stay healthy and really,
And your boy Charles Sims.
Oh, Charles Sims, just like his father, Phil, he's one hell of a football player. I like him a lot. He's actually one of my fantasy sleepers because their defense is going to give up an outrageous amount of points, and there's going to be a ton of garbage time where he's going to get, they're going to go forward wide. They're going to go forward wide outs.
Here's the thing about, and then there's another fantasy aside here. Doug Martin and Charles Sims is the best value handcuff running back situation in fantasy football. In 2015, the two combined for 328.3 points in fantasy, which is the most in the NFL for a running back duo from one team. Doug Martin had 199.3 points, and he had 12.5 points per game, which is the third-ranked running back in 2015 in points. Charles Sims, 129 points, 8.1 points per game, 22nd-ranked running back in 2015 with 8 points. So there's your fantasy part there. And then for those of you that don't play fantasy, the regular numbers, Doug Martin had 1,402 rush yards, 288 carries, 271 receiving yards, 33 receptions, and Charles Sims had 529 rushing yards, 107 carries, 561 yards receiving, and 51 receptions. So pretty damn good backfield you got there.
Absolutely. But you got to realize those numbers are really padded because they're going to be down 4 scores in the fourth quarter quite a bit. They're going to run 4 wide receiver sets from the shotgun. The other team is playing prevent cover 3, and those little dink-dunk under the middle where they get all these garbage, they're going to get old garbage receptions and then garbage receiving yards, which is great for fantasy, sucks for real life. I feel bad for Tampa Bay. Their fan base is actually pretty engaged for people in Florida, which is, sad because they suck. But, listen, if lightning strikes twice and they have that same kind of year, hey, maybe Jamarcus Russell, you hear me? Maybe Jameis Winston rounds the corner and becomes the next Cam Newton and win 10 games. I don't see it. But
who knows? We will see. It's only a second year. NFC South, for me, I got the Bucs coming in last. Could be wrong. We'll see. First-year head coach. The Saints, I think they'll be in the mix. Drew Brees, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Falcons, they're also going to be in the mix, I think. They got a new coach. Hopefully, not a new coach. I don't think they have a new coach, actually. They have a second-year coach now. They should be in the mix as well, like they were last year. Somehow they had a terrible collapse. I mean, they started off like 8-0, I think. And
they couldn't get out of their own way. They just couldn't win a game.
Yeah, and so Dan Quinn, he's their coach, and this is it's his first season as coach. He's coming from the Seahawks, where he was, I think, the defensive coordinator. And then the Panthers, I'm not really high on the Panthers, but I think they will win this division with around 10 wins. Maybe they get 11. Let's move to the West. Cardinals, the Los Angeles Rams, the 49ers, and the Seahawks. Real quick, go through this division. Obviously there's 2 good teams here, so you can get some more analysis on those teams.
I'm going with Arizona. I'm buying the Carson Palmer. Listen, the guy can put up crazy numbers. They have a really nice running game. They have a really good defense. Their wide receiving core, essentially right now, I would say Larry Fitzgerald is their 3rd receiver, which is ridiculous. John Brown, he's awesome. Michael Floyd, another...
Do you own John Brown's jersey?
Oh, he's on my fantasy team.
Oh, first pick.
No. I don't reach. But he's very, very good. You know, they have 3 guys who can catch for 1,000 yards. So they're going to put up a crazy amount of points.
Got a great running back. Great running back
in football, statistic-wise anyway. And their defense hawks the ball and turns it over. So they're going to be a really good team. They're actually my pick to win probably the most games in the NFC. I have them winning like probably 12 or 13 games, winning the division handily, beating Seattle twice.
All right. Seattle twice. So who's your second place team in that division? And third and fourth, who do you think is going to be the worst?
I think the second place is the LA Rams.
Ooh.
You like it?
I'm shocked.
I think Gurley is going to put that team on his back and just run.
All right, Case Keenum, take them to the playoffs, possibly.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those, the Mark Sanchez take him to the NFC Championship game, where it's, listen, don't turn the ball over, and then we got this. The reason I say them is because I think going into the new city, and I think the fanfare, I like the roster. I think that defense is just good. I think they're good. I think they're on the up. They're on the upswing. I think they're going to win 8 games, and I think they're going to be really good. And
all right, 8 games.
Seattle is on the downswing. The running back by committee is not beast mode, not even close. That crazy good defense, like anything else that happened in the league, guys go elsewhere to get paid, and guys get old. It's hard to stay really good on either side of the ball for a long period of time nowadays. I don't think that it had so much to do with Carroll's system. I don't believe that because I just don't. I've seen him be a bad coach too, Jets. And I don't think that Russell Wilson is that much of a plus that he's going to really put you over the top. Last year when they got Jimmy Graham, who's hurt now, I really thought that was going to be like a big push for them to really like take that next step, but they didn't. He's hurt. He did nothing in that offense. They didn't change the offense around, even though they had arguably the second best tight end in football. That's the thing. Change with the times or go away. I'm going to say they're going to win 7 games. They're going to lose a couple games that they have no business losing, and it's going to break their will, and they'll sort of phone it in for the rest of the season.
All right, so that is NFC West. My NFC West, I'm with you with the Cardinals. I think they're going to win 14 games minimum. First place, I'm going to take the Seahawks in second, going 9-7, and Rams third place, 6 wins, maybe 7, as usual with them. I think they're absolutely awful team, and the 49ers, they're going to suck. They'll be competing for the first overall pick. And then, so the NFC, just to recap here, you had the Giants, Cardinals, Packers, and Panthers winning the divisions. Who are your 2 wildcard teams?
I'm going with, this is a good one. So I'm going with the Saints. Mm-hmm. And I would say Vikings, but they're going to suck now. They were a wild card pick, my wild card pick of mine. I'm going with the Saints and the Rams.
Saints and the Rams. Okay. I have the Seahawks, and it's going to be between the Falcons and the Saints. The Saints defense was just so bad last year, but it could be them. I don't really know, but for the show purpose of us picking teams, I'll go with the Falcons. So my NFC, I got the Cardinals. The Cardinals I have as the 1 seed. Do you have them as your 1 seed?
Yes, I think they're the best team in the NFC.
Right. All right. So I have the Cardinals in the West, Redskins in the East, the Packers in the North, and the Panthers in the South. Now let's move to the AFC. And we'll start off in the AFC East, where everyone's saying, "Oh, Brady's out 4 games. This could be the year for the Jets, Dolphins, or Bills." I don't think so at all. The Patriots will easily win the division. I think the Jets have a good shot to start off either 1-5 or 0-6. So, how do you see the East playing out?
listen, the Patriots, Tom Brady is a Hall of Famer, arguably the best quarterback ever, probably the best quarterback of our generation. But, we've already seen this. Remember when Brady missed the whole season with his ACL and some bum named Matt Castle won 11 games? Belichick is smarter than everybody else. That roster has just gotten better. It's one of the few rosters after a Super Bowl where they didn't just shed a ton of talent. I think they've gotten better. I think the Deion Lewis injury sucks for them, but, another thing that you got to give to Belichick is his talent evaluation. He finds guys, out of a dumpster and makes them superstars. For example, Edelman was a corner in college, and then
he was a quarterback in college.
He was a quarterback in college. Then he was playing corner when he got drafted, and they made him a wide receiver. Oh, he'll just catch the ball 100 times, no problem. And then we had Danny Woodhead. He essentially made his career signing him off the Jets practice squad. So I'm sure whoever he sticks in there will have a phenomenal year. Sleeper pick is Gordon. He's a wide receiver. He kind of looks a little bit like Wes Welker. He's going to have to try to argue some time from Danny Amendola, but Danny Amendola is always hurt, so it should be fine to get some time for him. I think he's going to turn and have a really good season. But this is the real reason. The backup Graffadola or whatever his name is, I don't know if he's going to have a crazy good year, but those first 4 games, this is all I'm going to do if I'm Belichick. I'm going to run the 2 tight end set, and when you double cover Gronk, because you have to, because he if you don't, he'll just keep scoring, and then Bennett, who used to be a Giant, if you remember him, who at the time when you need him, he can actually catch the goddamn ball. So they arguably have the best tight end duel since it was him and Hernandez before he got arrested. So they're going to win a lot of games. I'm going to say they're going to win 12 games.
Yep, definitely in agreement there. Patriots, minimum. They're going to win a minimum of 12 games. And I think, they can maybe go at worst 2-2 without Brady. Brady's going to be so ridiculously, hot and on fire when he comes back and plays the Browns in Week 5. And he's just going to have a ridiculous season. They're going to easily win the division. And, that's that. I think the Dolphins and the Bills are pretty equally matched. I could see them winning anywhere between 7 to 9 games. I think the Jets are around the 6 to 7 win team. Who do you think is going to be the worst team in the AFC East?
Ooh, fight for the bottom. I'm going to go with Dolphins.
The Dolphins. Okay.
Aaron Foster is going to have a goddamn wheelchair out there. Why do you, listen, and I don't think Lamar Miller is, God's answer to football. I don't think he's James Brown or anything. But, Aaron Foster is a strong wind will tear his ACL. On a team that you have to throw the ball, because it's the league that we're in, their defense isn't going to make games where you can run the ball the way that you used to in, the 80s. They're going to have to throw the ball. The same, good in fantasy, bad in real life.
I think it's going to be the Jets because their schedule to start the season. At the Bengals Week 1, then 4 days later they're playing Thursday at the Bills. Then they got to go to travel versus the Chiefs. They got the Seahawks at home, the Steelers at home, then the Cardinals at home. I can only see them winning maybe 1 game there, and they still have to play the Patriots 2 times, and the Colts they play as well. So I think the Jets, just due to their schedule, they're going to be for a rough go to start the year. But if they can overcome that, they got a shot. Let's go to the AFC North. Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Steelers. I think you probably got the Browns coming in last. Who do you have winning the division?
I actually don't have the Browns coming in last. I have the Ravens coming in last. I have the Steelers coming in first for a multitude of reasons. Every year they reinvent their defense, and it's always very good. It's not going to be top 10 the way it used to be dominant, Polamalu years, but it'll still be decent enough where and they keep doing this as well, if Big Ben can stay healthy and score a bunch of points, they're going to win the division. And honestly, I think they're going to win the division pretty handily. Mm-hmm. Bell is going to take his normal 4 games off for smoking weed and be back with fresh legs, all over everybody, and they're going to win a lot of games. I think the Ravens are going to come in last for a multitude of reasons. A, they're changing up. Their program in change right now. I think they're turning over, and unlike say the Saints, who are in a similar situation where they're like a program in change, where even though they're in change, Breeze is that much better that it doesn't matter. They're still going to be contending.
Joe Flacco's pretty good, and they sucked last year, but he was hurt. He didn't play. He played like 4 games, so that's a contributing factor.
I understand that, but even when he's healthy, he's not that good where he can overcome the shit around him. And that defense is going to be bad. They cut their starting running back for some reason, so now they have 3 guys who are contending for 1. And if the Giants last season was any good example, if you got 3 running backs, you got none.
Well, listen, Flacco is a Super Bowl MVP, so he's definitely one of the better quarterbacks in the league.
So was Trent Dilfer. Like, listen, the guy...
Trent Dilfer was not a Super Bowl MVP.
But he won a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
My thing is this. Joe Flacco has never put up a good year when he didn't have a 1,000-yard rusher behind him. Or, Hall of Fame, 2 Hall of Famers on defense. 3, Suggs, Ray Lewis, and Ed Reed. He's very much a product of his environment, and I think he got exposed last year because now Ray Rice is gone. All the 3 guys I mentioned are either hurt or retired or fucking in jail or something. So now it's really on him. Good luck, and look what happened. I understand that we're spoiled rotten with Eli because he's never hurt, so it's hard to play into that. But it's just he has a crazy big arm, but he just he's
Just doesn't do it for you, I guess. All right.
Listen, he's in that next tier. He's not in the top tier quarterbacks. He's in that same tier with Matt Ryan and Tannehill and Jay Cutler, where they put up good numbers. But I'm not afraid to play them in the playoffs.
Well, I would say he's in the Eli tier.
No way.
Eli is not in the top tier. There's no way.
Absolutely. Look at Eli's comebacks in the fourth quarter, and you're down in the fourth quarter.
Since he entered the league, he's been the top interception with Suns. He's made the playoffs 3 times in 15 years.
He won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he won the Super Bowl. I understand that. But if you ask me tomorrow, pick 5 quarterbacks pick the 5 best quarterbacks in the league that I think give me the best chance to win this year, I'm not picking him.
How about this? You got 1 game to win. You get to pick 5 quarterbacks to win 1 game. He's not in your top 5?
I'm going Tom Brady number 1.
All right.
Big Ben number 2.
Big Ben has shit the bed in big spots. Let's not forget.
He's 2-0 in the Super Bowl, isn't he?
No, he is, but he's lost a lot of AFC Championship games.
Well, he's won a lot more games than a lot of play. He's probably the second winningest QB in the league if we had to think about it. Number 3, I'm going with Aaron Rodgers.
All right, I can give you that.
All right, I'm going with Drew Brees.
All right, I can give you that.
And this one here, you're not going to agree with me probably, but I'll tell you why before I tell you who. His team did so bad last year because he wasn't there, and every year prior to that, he's took his team to the playoffs with a shit offensive line, terrible running backs, no wide receivers. That's Andrew Luck.
Listen, Captain Caveman sucks. You heard it here first.
No, he's the 5th best quarterback in the league.
No, he's not. First of all, before you grant him anything in this league, he has never won shit. Win some shit, and then let's talk.
Multiple division titles.
Oh, division titles. Why don't you move to Philadelphia? They love division titles down there.
It'd be great for the Giants to win a division title.
Things.
So who are your quarterbacks? If you're going to tell me Eli's your number 1 guy?
No, you can't argue that. That's not a reasonable argument when he's playing in a league with Tom Brady, who's arguably the best quarterback ever. So it's not fair to say, "Well, he's not your number 1 guy." It's fucking Tom Brady's everyone's number 1 guy.
You got Eli number 2?
I probably got him. Probably 3.
So who's 2, 4, or 5?
I would go Tom Brady. I would go Aaron Rodgers. And then I'm going Eli. Then I'm going Big Ben. And then I'm going Phillip Rivers, not Drew Brees.
Ooh, I'm a big Phillip Rivers guy as well. I mean, to me, he's in the top tier quarterbacks.
Now, look, if you look at their numbers are very, very comparable. Eli's numbers and Phillip Rivers' numbers are very, very close. The difference is if you get Eli to the playoffs, he wins it all. And a lot of the times, even that one year where he threw like a fucking 25 interceptions.
Last year?
No, last year was his one of his best statistical years ever. It was the year prior. It was 2014. Where he threw a fucking bazillion fucking interceptions.
Well, that's the thing about Eli. That's the reason I don't like Eli. I'm a Giants fan. I don't like him because he just throws too many untimely interceptions. But hey, listen, we can only hope that he gets them back to the Super Bowl.
But this is my thing. This is my thing about Eli. Those and like not even the individual passes, like the Tyree one or the Mario Manningham ones that are like the video clips. That game against San Francisco, where in the playoffs, the year we won the Super Bowl in 2011, when he takes that beating he takes and still plays his ass off and beats them, is like that's an all-time game. He was getting like destroyed. Not only
I give him all the credit that he deserves for those playoff runs. I just don't know if right now he's still a top he's the top three quarterback.
How about him beating Brett Favre in the frozen tundra?
Yeah, great game, but like you said about Joe Flacco, he had two 1,000-yard rushers on that team, and he had the all-time leader in everything receiving-wise on the team. He had Plaxico Burress on the team, and he had an amazing defense with O.C. Tuck and Strahan on the line.
Okay, what about 2011, where they were 32nd in the league with the rush? He had no running game. Couldn't run the ball.
Oh, they had Bradshaw and Jacobs still.
Yeah, but that was a shit year for them. That wasn't, back-to-back.
They did have a little receiver who was pretty good in Victor Cruz.
Yeah, but he was an undrafted nobody. He was,
he was a Pro Bowler that year.
He was a Pro Bowler that year, but it's not like, they brought him in or something. He was
also had, listen, give all the credit you want to Steve Weatherford, because he deserves it for that. His amazing holding the kick after, he held the kick. They got to the Super Bowl. Lots of pressure situation on there. And
absolutely.
Then he got him running around. I'm a huge Weatherford guy. But let's move on here. Go Giants. Hopefully they go to the Super Bowl. AFC South. Texans, Colts, Jaguars, Titans.
Yuck, yuck, yuck. Well, the Colts are going to win.
No yuck for the Titans. All right.
They don't yuck. They suck. Listen.
I don't. Before we talk here, and maybe you agree with me, the Texans gave Brock Osweiler so much money for a guy who played 8 games in his career. That was a ridiculous contract. He better deliver.
It happens all the time. Like, you could just erase Brock Osweiler's name and type in,
Matt
Castle. Or, who was the other dickhead that did it when
Matt Flynn from the Packers. Oh,
Matt Flynn. Like, it happened.
Talking about?
Yeah, the league, unlike baseball where you can bring a kid up and let him play and see what he got, there's only 16 games. So when a guy gets like in-game experience and he has moderate success, that's it. The league like continues to like think that he can do it for whatever fucking reason. Right. So like for example, why does Brandon Whedon keep getting shots in this league? Why does Mark Sanchez keep getting shots in this league? They haven't had crazy successful runs. It's, they can play in the league. They can do it. Why is Sam Bradford, still getting first-round draft picks?
Who knows?
It's
crazy.
The league just does that. You
got three yucks and a suck. So who do you have winning this division?
Well, the Colts are going to win it, and not because they're great, basically because they have little to no competition. I bash Andrew Luck only because he looks like the Geico caveman, and sports media has essentially homines him as the next great coming, where, I don't think he's earned it. But, alas, he is very good. He is hands down the best quarterback in that division. They're going to win the division pretty easily. If he can stay healthy, that's another thing.
Yeah, well, the offensive line is atrocious there. But the thing is, last year, I think the Colts had the same record as the Texans, but the Texans won the tiebreaker to make the playoffs. And so I think the Colts will win the division at maybe 8-8, 9-7, depending on Luck's health. So let's say 9-7. Texans are going to be around 8-8. The Jaguars, I actually think, can maybe win 7 games. They have some really good draft picks this year. And the Titans, unfortunately, they'll be in last. But Marcus Mariota is going to have a better year, in the second year. I thought the Titans should have signed Chip Kelly because who better to run the Chip Kelly offense than Marcus Mariota from Oregon?
I think that if Philadelphia didn't show you that Chip Kelly doesn't belong in the NFL, I don't know what will. Listen,
I think he's a good coach. I don't think he should have been GM last year. That's what was terrible because as a coach, he won 10 games and 9 games, went to the playoffs 2 years in a row.
Ooh. My thing is this. Listen, he did that with somebody else's team. I think he's a really good offensive coordinator. I think he's very much Rex Ryan, just on the other side of the football, where he's a great offensive coordinator, but he shouldn't be head coach and/or GM. And
I think he could be a head coach, but he's going to probably struggle in San Francisco because they stink. And then the AFC West, you got the defending champs with their quarterback Trevor Siemian, who was a huge upgrade over Peyton Manning. Not even joking. The Chiefs, who were awesome last year. The Raiders and Philip Rivers Chargers, who might be in San Diego for the last year ever.
So I'll start with the Chargers, just because we both outed each other as Philip Rivers fans. Listen, Philip Rivers, the Danny Woodhead show, Antonio Gates, if they can get him out of retirement and get him out of the wheelchair, they're going to do what they do every year. They're going to throw up some points. They're going to make things interesting. Then they're going to lose games they shouldn't, and they're going to win 7 games. They're going to make a little bit of noise, but by the end of the year, they'll be out of it. Their defense fucking stinks. The other side of the ball, we go to Denver. Their defense is phenomenal. Will it be able to do what they did last year? Who knows? And I think there is now. I understand that Peyton Manning was a shell of his former self last year, and he was thrown with a Tebow arm. But I think there is, sort of the same way with Derek Jeter was on the Yankees. There's some intangibles about having somebody like that that's like bigger than life in the locker room, in the clubhouse, running the practices. A lot of people said Peyton Manning essentially was like the head coach. He was running the practices as well. I think they're going to miss him this year a lot more than they thought they would. And they have an unproven commodity at quarterback, and this is a quarterback-driven league. I think they win the division, but I don't think they make any noise in the playoffs.
All right, so I'm going to say with the West, the Broncos will win the division. Not that many. Not going to be a runaway. And let's go to the wild card here. So to recap for me, and I'll give my wild card first. I have the Patriots in the East. I think they're going to be the number 1 seed overall. Who do you have as your 1 seed, top record in the East, in the AFC?
Hold on one sec. So I looked up the 2011 Giants numbers. Mon Bradshaw rushed for 600 yards, and then Brandon Jacobs rushed for 5. They had...
There you go. A 1,000-yard rusher between the two of them. Perfect.
Yeah.
Just what every team wants, 1,000 yards.
Eli rushed for 35 yards. You mix that in there, too. There you go. You get to your 1,000.
They had a great defense.
But 2011, they didn't have a great defense. They just turned the ball over a shit ton.
That's good defense.
Nah, they gave up way too many fucking points. But anyway, I digress. We're looking at history books here. New England is the best team in the AFC. Will they be a little shaky without Brady? Maybe, but it's only 4 games.
He's going to be on so much. He's going to be on another level when he comes back. So Patriots, my number 1 seed. The West, I'm taking the Broncos. The North, I'm taking the Steelers. And the South, I'm going with the Colts. My 2 wild card teams are the Cincinnati Bengals, who are always in the playoffs, and the Oakland Raiders, getting over 500 for the first time in a long time, making it at 9-7 as the 6th wild card.
I like it. So
and go ahead with your picks.
I got New England coming out. Gangsters, you know how they do.
Mm-hmm.
Denver coming out, but they're going to lose in the playoffs. Sorry, Denver. Steelers, go Steelers. Cincinnati, who I didn't even talk about, they're going to make the playoffs because they always do. They will probably lose. I'm going with the Colts to win their division, but the Texans to come out as the wild card. I don't believe
Texans and Bengals as the wild cards.
Correct, and they're like essentially always the wild cards.
Right. So we're running out of time here. We have one more topic we want to get to. So real quick, my AFC Championship game is going to be the Patriots taking on the Steelers. I got the Patriots winning to go to the Super Bowl, and they're going to be taking on the winner of the game between the NFC between the Packers and the Cardinals. I got the Cardinals winning. I got the Cardinals taking on the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and I have the Cardinals winning the Super Bowl. Who do you got, real quick?
Why don't you take some more chalk? That's easy. Took all the chalk. I got the AFC Championship game. I got the AFC Championship game as New England versus the Colts. New England beats them, go to Super Bowl. I got the Giants versus the Packers in the NFC Championship game. Giants beat that ass. And then
what is this, 2011? What is this, 2007? Oh my gosh! You got
third time in a row.
Patriots. All right.
Time's a charm.
I'll be down with that. Yeah.
Wrecking crew.
All right. So there you have it, folks. Our playoff predictions. And we're not gonna have time this week, but going forward, each week, me and John, we will pick each week's games. We'll decide we'll say who's going to win each week's games. Let's do 2 games real quick. So we got the Giants and the Cowboys. I'm going Giants. I assume you are. And we got the Bengals Jets. Who are you going with?
I'm actually going Bengals. Sorry, Jet fans.
There you go. And then the last thing we want to address here is John Tortorella, a true American, Team USA coach for the World Hockey Cup, which is going to be going on from September 17th through October 1st on ESPN. He says, if any of my players sit on the bench for the national anthem, they will sit there the rest of the game. I think that's great saying by him, and that's how it should be. If you're playing for America in the World Cup of Hockey, trying to get a gold medal for your country, you should stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance and the national anthem and all the different American things.
Could not agree more. Colin Kaepernick is a hack idiot bench player, and that stupid lesbian bitch from the fucking soccer team. Like, oh, we're oppressed too. Like, who's oppressing lesbians? Get the fuck out of here. It's just nonsense. It's just such bullshit. And they're just doing it as like a PR stunt. And you know what? Tortorella tells it how it is. Listen, you play a game for a living. Yeah, you have freedom of speech. You can not stand. But I get the freedom not to play your stupid ass. It's just, it's the same freedom that you want to exercise yourself. I think, and then Colin Kaepernick coming out with an afro. Like, oh, come on. You're like a caricature of yourself just making this shit up as you go along. Disgrazia.
Yeah, I don't understand why Megan Rapinoe decided that she needs to take a kneel. I don't understand. I'm surprised there was even cameras at that one soccer game.
Yeah, who gives a shit
after that. But interesting that she decided to take a stand. Colin Kaepernick, he's free to make his message or whatever he wants to do, but the media shouldn't be covering this every week. They shouldn't have a camera at the national anthem on the flag, which is a great moment, and then we shouldn't be showing Colin Kaepernick on the sideline. No other team in the league is showing the backup quarterback on the sideline during the national anthem.
Yeah, what it becomes is it just becomes now that's a story. What other backup quarterback pre-game ritual is a fucking story? It's aligned with Black Lives Matters nonsense that's like part of like the narrative and part of like the national consciousness right now.
I guess your guy Sean King said, "I will never stand for the national anthem ever again." Well, nobody gives a crap about you, Sean King. You are a hack.
You're in blackface. You're a fucking white guy. God.
Yeah, it's really crazy stuff. But everybody, our show is just about done here. Enjoy the first week of the NFL season. Hopefully your fantasy team just does a fantastic job. You take our advice. And if you're a betting man, hey, you might want to listen to us about our Super Bowl picks. The Patriots are a lock to be in the AFC Championship game at worst. Definitely going to be in the Super Bowl. Who knows? Tom Brady could even win MVP. Wouldn't that be something, John?
I could see it. Listen, stop making Tom Brady mad.
listening to UCY.com.